Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, I want to welcome a gentleman who we've been working together for, I would say, 5, 6 months, maybe 6 months at this point. Started off, asked a lot of questions, but great questions. Got the ball rolling and has not looked back since. Has been a super consistent, leveraging our Apex system and figuring out ways to continue to grow, and is obviously looking to scale with us here soon. But I want to welcome none other than my brother here, Curtis. Curtis, man, I appreciate you for taking time to hop on today.
Hey, thank you, Trey. Glad to be here.
Of course, of course. So before we hop in, can you tell the people a little bit about your story in regards to like when you got into insurance, like how old were you, a little bit about your experience getting into this industry, and then we'll hop right in.
So yeah, thank you, man. I started off in insurance at like a general call center, one of those big call centers for like Geico, Progressive, State Farm, one of those. And I was there for a long time, about 16 years. Then went ahead and decided to get licensed, transitioned into doing life sales 2021. At that time, I was calling leads and booking appointments to go see them in person. And so I would go out there and see them in person. And that was cool. That was nice. But then I was seeing videos with a lot of people doing well, doing it through telesales. So I decided to go ahead and get with some guys that were doing it strictly in telesales only, no face to face in 2024, and haven't looked back since. So that's my story in regards to life and insurance in general. It was back in the day, it was PNC, like property and casualty, but no sales. It was just servicing. People calling to modify policies, rewrite policies, things like that, swapping out vehicles. If it's Florida, a lot of wind mitigation stuff to make their home have a lower cost on their home insurance. But I figured, hey, if I'm talking to people all the time, always talking about big premiums too. Most people that call in, premiums be pretty large. All right, we just added this vehicle. Okay, we always had to say new annual premium. Okay, yeah, your new annual premium's 865 a month. Okay, and at the end of every call, almost every call, at least twice a day, so much so that I had a memorized line for whenever it came up. What they would ask me at the end of servicing everything, new vehicle, maybe a new roof on your house, maybe personal catastrophe policy. Everything's good. New child. All right. At the end of it all, do you have anything that can help pay off my mortgage if I pass away? Do you have anything that could, what if I get sick? And there was this phone number we had to transfer them to. There was a number I was like, oh, I said, that's a part of life insurance. Let me transfer you to this number. And I would just
Mhm.
transfer them away. So yeah, and I listened on one day to see where they get transferred to. They got dumped into a voicemail box. Nobody really helped them. So I was like, man, I need to start. I wish I had, kept my license and maybe stayed a little longer. But yeah, man.
Hey, now that's an interesting story. I didn't even know that, man. And then fast forward, for the people, you get into insurance. What were your first 30 days, like first 60 days? Not with us, but just in general. Like, was that
In
a
general,
position? Was it tough? Talk about
it
that.
it was tough. It was tough, but it was more fun than anything else. Once you get your first sale and you see that the commission's real, then it was interesting. And then plus with so much for me, with so much content being available on YouTube, I kept on seeing stories about people crushing it. And then I get a sale and I say, oh man, so how many more of these can I get? So, but it was rough, definitely hard doing it in person. Sometimes you drive around and people don't answer the door for you, or you do an appointment and they're not really taking the appointment seriously. You think it's going to go through at the end, but they want to think about it. So the same stuff happens in person, but not as much. And so yeah, so it was rough
Gotcha.
and good. Yeah, kind of a little bit of both. Good
Yeah.
and bad. Like yeah, bad on the maybe it wouldn't be so bad if it didn't have a big truck, a non-fuel economy vehicle. So
Right. No, 100%. So let's talk about what made you, I remember when what made you want to start working with us. Walk that through a client like, hey, this is why I chose to
oh
pick.
man, yeah, like you didn't even have to really try hard to get me to come here, or to talk about it because for me, like it really is what I do, and so it's a part of my system. So it's easy to explain why. So Twitter came from those other leads before, like either final expense or general life insurance. You don't know why they're looking into it. So the why would always be, okay, is it because of funeral? Is it because of a debt or a mortgage? Or is it because you just want to leave behind some extra security, replacement income? And they say whatever they're going to say. So, but on average, the premium sizes were smaller for those leads, were smaller. And a lot of those people It was like a lot of cancellations from like missed payments, a lot of people not having bank accounts. Fast forward to me going through that, still selling, but like smaller premiums. Everybody else on my team, when I started doing telesales, everybody on that team, for the most part, was doing mortgage protection. And at the time, for all that time I was doing life insurance, I didn't want to do mortgage protection. I don't know why, I just didn't want to do it. I was like, oh man, I was content doing what I was doing. I thought it would be like more complicated, so I didn't want to, you know. But I started hearing these presentations, and on average, premium sizes were much larger, and the clientele, just from me dialing mortgage protection leads, the clientele is just different. So you're talking to doctors, lawyers, people that have multiple properties. I call, hey, this is for the home in Illinois. No, it's for my home in Kentucky. Oh, okay. You got multiple properties. All right. So so it's different clientele. That the question as to whether or not do they have a bank account isn't even it's like an afterthought. So of course I have a bank account. Usually they beat me to the punch. So you ready for the checking? Well, yeah, go ahead. Yes, sir. Well, yes, doctor. Like those are kind of costs that we're having now. So it's kind of cool. So that's the reason why. So that they say you want to sell to qualified buyers. So now we're having conversations with qualified buyers. They're not all going to say yes, but at least they could. I honestly, I've helped a lot of families where, not to put anybody down, like everybody's in their own situation, but doing the general life insurance leads, surprisingly, a lot of people that submit requests for leads, like for help, is people that are homeless. A lot of people that I would call to submit the lead to, they don't have like a stable address. They tell me that they're living in tents and stuff, and it's cool. They're my clients. Every couple of months we got to change their account information. I try to do whatever I can to keep them on the books. But all my clientele from before is really hard to manage. These mortgage protection clientele, they're still going to be customers. They say buyers are liars sometimes, silly stuff like that. But overall, it's just better.
As far as annual premium goes, you write big policies. Or an agent who wants to learn, hey, Curtis, how do I write bigger mortgage protection policies? What do you say?
Bigger mortgage protection policies. Well, in our scripting, and what I always want to say, part of it is we want to know what's the remaining balance on the mortgage, right? And then, and what's their monthly mortgage payment as well. That, and of course, we want to know what their monthly income is, see kind of what our wiggle room is. And then, if they can qualify, then I'll just go for a big term, either a little bit more than the remaining balance, exactly the remaining balance, and then a lower amount. So they have a range of options. And a lot of times they'll go with a higher one because that's what they really want if it's affordable. And then of course if they don't qualify, if somebody has a lot of health issues, they can't get that. So then you just want to sell the value of the I call it, I know it's equity protection, but I seem to, in my conversations with clients, I just call it mortgage payment protection. So it's going to help you pay the mortgage, help your loved one pay the mortgage. Just sell the value of that because it's true. You're going to get a lump sum of money that's the equivalent of a specific amount of mortgage payments, whether it be 24 months, 12 months, or maybe 6 months. Sometimes I'll do bigger ranges too. Sometimes I don't do just the 24 months, 12 and 6, but you just give them that option and just take it from there. And the premiums end up being pretty larger, pretty big. So like, for example, if somebody's in their 60s, a lot of these people trying to get the coverage, they're trying to get it in like their 60s, 70s, even 80s. So you just have to, don't be afraid to present large numbers. So I haven't had too much of that problem because of always talking about big numbers in property and casualty. But like when it comes to presenting big numbers coming from final expense, it's kind of shocking. Like I sold a policy that was six something a month, and it was a term, and the lady was in her 60s, but she was very healthy, and she got approved. So I was surprised about that. But now I'm seeing it happen more and more. I got a 76-year-old approved with a term policy with a well-known carrier, and it was term, so he was in his late 70s. I think it was only either 10 or 15 year. I forget what they allowed him to get, but he wanted it, needed it, and it was like 470 something a month, and he was very healthy. So like people may think that somebody who's older can't get term, but if you present it to them, roll the dice, submit the application, they might get approved if they're actually healthy as they say they are. So just don't be afraid to shoot your shot. And a lot of times they come on the phone not even thinking that that's possible. because of course we always want to pitch more payment protection or equity protection, right? We always want to, that's a very good option, but sometimes they might have spoken to another agent and hung up because of that. Oh, I wanted the whole thing covered, click, right? So then if you can quickly pivot to, okay, well, maybe you can get the whole thing. Let's look at, let's explore that and see whether or not it's possible, and based on their health, and sometimes it works out. So hopefully somebody out there can get something from that. Anybody grinding the phones, don't be afraid to present big numbers. If somebody's in their 70s, like this one guy I helped, he can still possibly get it.
Gotcha. As far as phone script goes, just the intro. Can you walk people through? We don't have to role play if you don't want to, but can you
Okay.
through the mindset of when you're calling these leads, kind of what you say, why you say what you say.
Yeah. So my intro, you just want to sound confident. You don't want to be overly happy, but just like, hello, Trey.
Yeah.
Hey, Trey, this is Curtis. I'm getting back to you about the request you submitted for information on mortgage protection coverage. This is for your home in Tennessee. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, perfect. So I'm the licensed broker with the state. My job is just to go over your options, answer any questions that you have. Grab a pen and paper. I got to give you my name and my license number. Just let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready? Okay, perfect. Then I give them my information. And I always like to immediately, while they're trying to find that, I like to text them from my personal phone a copy of my license for that state. So, and then I say, so when they come back, and 9 times out of 10, oh, I can't get a pen and paper. Hey, don't worry about that. I'm actually required to send you a copy of my license with the state. That way you know who I am, and then I'm authorized to go over this with you. It's going to be coming from an 813 phone number. So let me know when you have that. And then later on during the call, I like to mention, hey, I like to make sure they see it. And then that lets me know that they're going to be able to see things during the application. So make sure they can see my text. I'll say, okay, and then I let them know that they can save that number in their phone just to kind of future pace them, let them know that we're going to be in contact. Go ahead and save that number in your phone. That way, going forward, if you need to make any changes, get a hold of me, you can. And then, how far into it do you want me to go?
No, I mean, you can keep rolling or you can stop if you want.
Oh man, I
You
mean,
like,
like, so at that point, like, I like to ask. So have you been looking into this for a long time, Trey, or am I the first person who's been able to help you with this?
this is the first time somebody's actually spoken to me about this.
Okay, perfect. And have you ever had mortgage protection coverage in the past?
No, I'm not too familiar outside of like what the ads.
Okay, all right, yes, sir. So just a brief overview. Mortgage protection coverage is a form of life insurance, and what it will do is after you pass away, it's going to pay out to your beneficiary, your family member, a lump sum, tax-free, that they can use to pay the mortgage. Now, this coverage also comes with living benefits as well. So if you were to become, for example, terminally ill or disabled from injury, you'd be able to get money out of the policy while you're still alive. Does that make sense? Does that sound a little bit like what you were looking for?
Yeah, that makes sense. Want to make
Okay, perfect. All right. And would this coverage, would it be just for you, Trey, or for a spouse as well?
be for me and my wife.
You and your wife? Okay. All right, perfect. And before we get started, is there anyone else who would need to be involved in this process for your coverage, or do you make the final decision yourself?
I make the final decision myself.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, and then I just go into just explaining the process, like I let them know the price and eligibility just based on their age and health. And I say the biggest part of it is like before you kind of get rolling, you want to get that upfront contract. So you get to a point where you just want to say, hey, like if you do find an option that makes sense for you with enough coverage and it's affordable, is there anything that would stop you from at least trying to get qualified today? From submitting an application today and just see what they say to that.
Right.
Because then you can kind of do a temperature check as to whether or not they want to go through the application.
Guys, I like that a lot. I appreciate you. Agents will love that as well. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, man.
I want to move a little bit away from sales and talk about leads and ads. You are running our Apex offer where you get ads and leads at cost. You understand the value of, you got to get a campaign set up. It takes a little bit of time to get optimized. Let's imagine a brand new person is entering our ecosystem. Can you walk
Mm.
through expectations on the lead side from communication, etc.?
Yeah, it's great. So they'll set up so for my program, I'm not sure how much I can say about it. Let's just say everything. But so for my program that I'm set up with, you said that's called the Apex.
That is correct. Yeah, it's just
Okay,
you don't have to,
perfect. So
but you can just say Aspen for the sake of it.
okay. So what I have, what I like about it is I like getting the updates in real time after they submit the request. That's very helpful. So I can call them right away. I also really like that you can have your phone number on the ad so that they can call you immediately as well. I have a phone number service forwarding service. So the number is saved in my phone. So I have it saved as mortgage protection. So mortgage protection lead actually. So when they call that number, and my phone rings and it says that, I know it's somebody calling me from the ad. And so then I have the shared spreadsheet saved on my phone on the home screen so that when I answer the phone, I already, sometimes before I answer it, I open up the spreadsheet and scroll to the bottom. So while I'm on the phone, I can say, okay, hello, hi. Then I say, when I answer the phone like this, I say, mortgage protection insurance, how can I help you? Well, actually, I say, I'm mortgage protection insurance. This is Curtis. How can I help you? Right. And then they say, hey, I'm looking into mortgage protection insurance. And then by that point, I'm already at the bottom of the spreadsheet. And I say, okay, is this Marcus? Hey, Marcus, what's going on? I see your request. This in Louisiana? Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, yeah. How can I help? So I've no matter midnight, after midnight, 2 a.m. I mean, I've been in bed before. Mortgage protection insurance. This is Curtis. How can I help you?
Yeah.
And I've run quotes in the bed from different platforms. So, it's crazy. So I really like that. And then I know it has CRM integration, but right now I do it manually. So, but it's pretty easy for me to do it manually. I like to take the leads, put them into my Google contacts. So I can always, if they call me after they call the ad number, if they ever call me directly on my cell or any other number that I have forwarded to me, I'll know who it is because they're in my Google contacts. And then I put them in my CRM as well, so that they can be in my pipeline for dialing. And that's it. But while we're on the phone, before they're in my CRM, they call me directly. I just take notes in Google Keep on my phone. And then if I can't close it there while I'm on the go, then I'll just transport everything to my CRM later when I for our later appointment or if I gotta dial them later. So it's really cool. It feels very savvy getting the incoming calls. It's a good feeling for sure.
Got you. First of all, I love that. We're gonna use that because I typically tell them to do something similar, but you gave the full blueprint for how to handle the incoming calls. Now, as far as lead flow goes, can you talk about agents' expectations when they have their own customized campaign for lead flow? I know from week one to week two to obviously where you're at now, where it's pretty consistent.
Yeah, the longer it stays on, the better it gets. So it'll start off slow, and of course, it's all based on how many states you have opened up. So how many states you're licensed in. A lot of my friends that also use this service, they chose to just open up all the states except for New York and a few other ones. I'm thinking about taking California off there. But yeah, just take off a couple of states, but for the most part, have as many states as you can open. So then more leads can come through basically. And then what I do is, see, I'm not sure. I mean, I think this is okay. I don't think this is bad. What I do is if a lead comes through in a state, if it is bad, cut it out, Trey. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think it's bad though. I mean, what I do if a lead comes through in a state that I don't have a non-resident license in, I'll still talk to them and help them. But then before I actually submit the application, before I even go into the application, I'll go ahead and buy the license in that state from the NIPR website. So I actually recommend don't buy the license until after you get the banking and everything, because you don't want to go ahead and get the license all because you guys are talking and then they just hang up on you and they go into the witness protection program. So, then now you got a license. That happened to me with I think that happened to me with the most expensive state, Illinois. Like
Mm.
380 to get the license, and then it ended up not going through. But it's not the end of the world though, because these like we talked about the average premium being a little bit larger. So if a lead comes through from a state that you're not licensed in, just get the license and then you're able to write it. So it's really cool. So over time, I'm getting licensed almost in all the states now. I think about half now, because these leads coming in different places are forcing me to get licenses in different places. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. That license website is very easy, almost like Amazon now. And then you can actually get the copy of your license within like an hour to add to your collection of licenses. So it's really cool. And then some carriers won't even let you go into the app unless you're licensed, but some of them do. Like Mutual of Omaha, they'll say, hey, If you don't see the license, go ahead and submit the application. We're not going to be able to approve it until we see the license. So you can buy the license before it's submitted, and then, you know what I mean? Like, then they'll still help you. So I don't want to go too much into that, but end of the day, like the leads coming through, it's very good flow. You have staff. So you mentioned like how do I feel about the campaign and everything. So you have staff that helps you with your campaign. So they will, but so the leads, it was explained to me by the staff that the longer the campaign runs, the better it gets. And it's true, you know, when it comes to like internet marketing, running campaigns. So the flow is good. Yeah, in general, you know, I didn't mean to give you 1,000 paragraphs, but yeah, the flow is good, gets better over time. Variety of states is good. That's really about it regarding that. Was there anything specifically you wanted to know about? Oh, the staff. I'm sorry, man. My bad. That's what I meant to say. So there is more that I can say. The staff is great. So am I allowed to talk about the Discord?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they give you a Discord channel that goes along with your campaign. So when you're in there, you can ask questions. So if you have any questions to ask about the quality of your leads or anything, the staff's available to help you. If a number is disconnected, they want to know. The in the spreadsheet, you get like one or two people that are assigned to you, so they'll request that you color code your row. So based on if you sell a policy or if you didn't sell it or wrong number, you color code it and you post your sales as well in the Discord so they can see that. That data helps them know what demographic is responding better to your ad. So what they're trying to do is make the ad get better over time based on what you're selling. So it was really good. I
Yeah.
almost forgot to mention that.
And that's a very important factor that we like to let people know about. Finishing up here, somebody is coming to work with us at Agent Lead. What do you tell them?
If an agent says they do want to work with you, I say go ahead and do it. It's an investment, but you should already be buying leads anyway. So if you're already buying leads, your leads most likely are not fresh, like they're not exclusive to you. So these leads are exclusive, so you're gonna be the only one calling them. That's a big deal. You get they say speed's key. If you're available, if you're the kind of guy that likes to work a lot and likes to try to follow up with people quickly, you're going to be able to see that lead come in and call them immediately before they even get off the computer. And I think you'll have a good time. You get familiar with mortgage protection, watch videos about mortgage protection. There's all types of different people you can watch. Pretty soon you'll be really good at offering different options. And they're going to be big options.
For sure. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. As always, if you all have any questions, comments, or concerns, please get in contact with us. Go to our website or get in contact with one of your dedicated assistants that can assist you in finding whatever options work best for you. So, Curtis, I really do appreciate your time this evening, brother. And yeah, if you need anything, anybody that's watching this, please get in contact with us as soon as possible.